Hey there guys, Adam Fishwick here. So since I've had that long break from YouTube and now I'm back, I've been addicted doing YouTube videos now, so I've decided to do one for you today. I'm going to be talking to you about what happened to me last year. So I've been a massive fan of Doctor Who since it came back out in 2005, and I grew up watching the show, and I've always wanted to meet a doctor. It was mostly David Tennant because he was my Doctor. It was Christopher Eccleston was the first Doctor I watched it, but David Tennant was there for me more, and I've always wanted to meet David Tennant. I still do to this day, but ever since then, I've always wanted to meet a Doctor. So since 2013, I started to go to conventions, which I love. I've always wanted to meet a Doctor there. I didn't get to see one when I first went to my first one. I met Kai Owens, who plays Reese in Torchwood. He was a lovely man. I also met Warwick Davis in 2014 at Manchester Comic Con, and 2015 I started to go to Bolton Comic Con, and I was I was on the website and I was going through who was going to be there, and I spotted Peter Davison and Sylvester McCoy, and I was I was I think I was gonna have a heart attack because I've always wanted to meet a doctor, and here was my chance. I got to meet Peter Davison and Sylvester McCoy. Not I was just really proud of myself that I got to meet two doctors in one convention. I mean, come on, you gotta say that's pretty good for the first two doctors you're going to meet. So I had to wait for a month to for it to come out. I was really looking forward to it, and I was having a bit of worries that I was trying to get tickets, but I was worried that getting those tickets might be a scam just to rob your money, but unfortunately no, because I managed to get there. I managed to get tickets the second time when I went Bolton Comic Con the second time, which was brilliant. I got to meet Terry Malloy, who plays Davros. So yeah, I started to so I didn't get tickets for for my first time when I went to Bolton Comic Con, so I paid to get in, and I I had to wait for a month, and so it didn't start until the 1st of March, and so I got there, but I had to wait for an hour because I didn't get a ticket, because you can go in early to get a ticket. If you had a ticket, you get to go in early. So I didn't have one, so I had to wait outside, and it was freezing. So but I was sat outside for about half an hour, and the woman at the check, as at the check, she let me go in anyway. So I went in, and it wasn't big, Bolton Comic Con. It was in where Reebok is, um, but it was a good convention. Not big, but good. So I had money. I had a money, and I said to myself, right, before you buy anything, Adam, go and find Peter Davison and Sylvester McCoy. So I wanted to get autographs off them first. So I was looking everywhere for where all the guests would be, but because it was my first time, I didn't know where everything was. But I managed to find it. So I was looking. I was also looking at the stuff that was there, which was really nice. So I t- I was wondering if they haven't arrived yet. So I was looking at I can't remember what I was looking at, but I turned around and I saw Sylvester McCoy just standing and standing near his desk. It's like, oh my god, there he is, there's Sylvester McCoy. And I was worried, but I was worried. I was getting nerves. I was shaking. Because you know what you like when you meet celebrities, you get all nervous when you meet your heroes. So, yeah, I saw Sylvester McCoy, and then I saw Peter Davison. But I wanted to meet Peter Davison first because he was the Fifth Doctor, and Sylvester McCoy's the Seventh Doctor, as you all know. So I saw I saw I saw Peter Davison there, but he was talking to someone who worked there, I think. So I just thought, no, I don't want to bother him at the minute because he's talking to someone. So Sylvester McCoy was free, so I went to see him because there's nobody really seen him, but um I was nervous, but there was somebody else there seeing him first, so I was just waiting in the line. It wasn't really much of a big line, really. It was only just like one person. It was only like one person and me. But the guy the guy who was seeing Sylvester, he was asking, he was going to have a picture with him, and then when he went around the desk to have the picture with him, Sylvester saw me and he said hello, and I'm just like in surprise, hello, because that's what you like when you meet your heroes. So he finished talking to him, and he went off, and then so I went up to him and I said, hi Sylvester, and um I can't remember what he actually said to me now, but how he responded to that. So I remembered him. I asked him, "Can I have a picture and an autograph?" Um, and then I was talking to him about the Five-ish Doctors reboot, and I mentioned he was in an interview with Ian McKellen, and I was talking to him about that. And I also was talking to him about when Ian McKellen was in the Five-ish Doctors reboot, and Sylvester said, I don't think he even know he was acting, which made me laugh. Uh, and then I asked, he asked me, "Are you from Bolton?" I said, "Yeah, I am." And he says, "All right. Did you he said, "Did you work? Have you been to the Opticum Theatre in Bolton?" I said, "Yeah, I did." And then he said to me, "Oh, I used to I went there when I was younger." I think he was younger, but he said he used to work there, which was interesting actually. Um, and then he signed my autograph, and I asked him, can I have a picture with you? And he said he said yeah. And when he ran, so the desk was there and I was there, and he was there, so he kind of ran to me. It was kind of funny. Yeah, you had to be there to see it. And then the woman who was there, I think it was his agent. I'm not too sure, but she took the picture. Um, but when she was taking the picture, Sylvester had his arm around me, and I had my arm around him, and he just did this little giggle. It was so funny. Seriously, if you haven't met him, if you haven't met him, I would suggest, if you ever get that chance to meet Sylvester McCoy, I suggest you go and meet him because he's a great guy and he's so funny. For those who have met him, you know what he's like. He's a great guy. Um, and then and then I said to him, it's been an honor to meet you, and he says, yeah, it's been an honor to meet you too. Um, I've got I've got my autograph from him, but I will show you that afterwards. So yeah, I finished speaking to Sylvester McCoy, and I was I had my nerves went after that. I was okay, and then I saw Peter Davison. Well, he looked at me first when I finished speaking to Sylvester, and I said, "Hi, Peter," and he said, "Hi." And then I asked him, can I have a picture and an autograph, please? And he said, yeah, sure. And then I said to him, I watched the Time Crash the other day because I knew I was going to be meeting him. he looked at me and said, "All right," in delightful, um, and then he was asking me which picture do you want, and then I chose it, and then I s he said to me, "Who am I making this out for?" And I said it's for Adam, and then I and then he didn't really speak to me that much. I can't even remember what half of the stuff I said to Peter Davison, but he was kind of quiet. Peter Davison, he's a great guy, but um I don't want to get people disappointed um for those who haven't met him, but I don't think he's like that all the time. So so I don't want to spoil that for you guys who haven't met Peter Davison yet. But he was kind of quiet with me, but I'm sure he's not like that with other people because I've heard some mixed moods about Peter Davison. Um, but yeah, he is a lovely fella. But I think I was also asking him about the Five-ish Doctors reboot. I can't remember what I even said to him now. As I said, I don't even know half of the stuff I said to Peter Davison. I think I got a bit more nerves when I met Peter Davison. He was a bit more worse than when I met Sylvester. I'm not saying that he's worse as yeah. You ignore that bit. He signed my autograph and I got a picture of him, which was a great picture. I've got them all up there. I'll show you them in a minute. And he and then I said I had he gave me a plastic bag to put a plastic folder to put the my autographs in. But and then I went off and I said it's been an honour to meet you and I shaked his hand. So I went off, and then he called me back again, and then he called me back, and he went, "Hey," and then I turned around, and I left Sylvester McCoy's picture on his desk, so he passed it back to me, which was like, all right, okay. I said, "Thanks, Peter." And then that was it. I was just really happy for myself that I got to meet two doctors. I'm glad that I got to meet those two doctors. I was going to do anyway. um, and yeah, they were great guys. I just couldn't believe I've met two of my heroes. And yeah, it was brilliant. I absolutely loved it that day. And yeah, it was great. So later on when I was at the convention, I was just there was a big crowd going on, so we couldn't really move anywhere. And then I bumped it into someone, and it turned out to be Sylvester. So yeah, that happened. Then a few months later, I went online and bought a ticket to Manchester Comic Con for July. Um, I looked at the guest list on my laptop, and Sylvester McCoy was going there. So I wasn't planning on meeting him because I already met him. And then Sophie Aldridge, who played Ace, so I just thought, yeah, I'm gonna meet her. I like Ace because she's my favourite companion. Um, and then um, and then and then it was coming near to when the convention was coming back on, and then it showed did another guest, and it was Colin Baker. So yeah, and I was really chuffed about that. I was happy that Colin Baker was going to be there. So the day of the convention came. So I got up really early to get sorted for Manchester Comic Con. I dressed up as the 11th Doctor. Um, and then I went out. We got there. I went there with my dear friend Andrew. And I was and we were going to meet up with my school friend Jacob. Um, and then we met up. We met up there, and then we went. We went around looking around, looking at all the cool stuff, and then we went to see Colin Baker. We went in line with him, and I was there was somebody there was a couple coming to see him. They were in front of us, and then he saw me and he smiled at me and I smiled at him back, which was like, oh, I'm looking forward to meeting Colin, because he's just smiled at me. But yeah, my nerves was just going as well. Um, and then it was my turn to see him, and so I went up to him and I said, Colin, I have been waiting for this moment. I can't remember what he said now because, as I said before, I can't remember some of the stuff what happens when you meet your heroes. But I remembered him. I remembered. I asked him, can I have? I asked him if I can have my if I can have a picture with him and an autograph, and he said, of course you can. And then I was also talking to him about the Five-ish Doctors reboot, the scene with when he comes in and he gets the twin dilemma, and his wife and her friends are just sat there on the settee, the couch, and then Colin comes in and then he says, "One of my best, you will love it. Many say it's a classic." And then I said that bit to him because he knew what I was talking about. And then I froze because it was just my nerves just coming up to him, and then he was just looking at me like he knew what I meant though, but I think he knew I was getting a bit nervous, so he finished it off, and I said yes. He said even more of me. If you haven't seen the Five Doctors, go and check it out. It is brilliant. It's so funny. But for those who have seen it, then you'll know what I'm talking about. And then he gave me and then I had a picture with him, and my friend Andrew, he was taking the picture, and then Colin said, "Oh, Ronald Weasley's is taking the picture," which was funny. And then I remembered my mate Jacob saying to me, because he was more excited in meeting Colin because he was he was one of his favourite doctors. He likes Colin because he says he's proper British because he's got that accent. And then yeah, I had a great. He was really lovely. He was a great guy, Colin. And then I said thank you. It's been an honour meeting you. Um, and then I left. I left him, and then I was really happy that I got to meet and had a great photo with him and got an autograph. And then I went to see Sophie Aldridge. We waited for a bit to see Sophie Aldridge. Yeah, I went to see her, and there was, yeah, as I said, there was only me, Andrew, and Jacob, and she was looking at all three of us, and I went, "Hi, Sophie," and it says, "Hi," she said, and I said to her, "Can I have a picture and an autograph?" And he says, "Of course you can." I remembered, I said to her, I said my name first, of course, and I told her, I like, I asked her, "Where's your baseball bat?" And then she said, "I don't know. I think the BBC have got it." Which was kind of funny. And she told me that her son's called Adam, and she also said to me that that she's already had like 4 Adams coming to see her today. It's like, oh, okay. And then and then I asked she said to me, which picture do you want? And I was stood there for quite a while because they all looked really good, and I couldn't decide which one, and then I chose. I finally chose one in the end because I said to them, they all look awesome of her. And then she told me, she gave me she gave me a leaflet on a play that she's doing, which I probably have missed it now because it was last year. And she was just telling me about it, and then I had a really nice picture with her, and it was great meeting her. And then I gave her the money, and then Sylvester was next to her, and I then she said to me, I asked her, does it cost to have a picture of Sylvester? It's like no one. She said no one in the autographs. So I went to see Sylvester again, and then I said to him, "Do you remember me?" And he went, "Of course I remember you." And then he said, "From London, right?" And I said, "No." And I said, "From Bolton." And he said, "Ah, yes, of course." I wasn't too sure if he did remember me, but I think he's only just being kind, which is nice. And then I said to him, "Can I have a picture?" And then he said, "Yes, you can." And then my friend Jacob said, "I heard that you still play the spoons." It's like, I do. I still do, yes. And then he said, "Do you want me to go and get them?" And then and then he ran off somewhere, and then he came back with some spoons, and then this happened.
If you put enough money in, he'll...
And then he went out to Colin Baker. It was so funny. And then me and Andrew and Jacob left, saying thank you to Sylvester, and great that I got to meet him again. And we started laughing, and then we said to each other, "Did that actually just happen? Sylvester McCoy played the spoons on me. Did that actually just happen?" And then we saw some other people that we knew, and then who were Doctor Who fans, and then my mate Jacob said we got Sylvester to play the spoons on Adam. He should have been there. It was amazing, and we was all laughing. I couldn't believe it, and yeah, it was amazing. I absolutely loved it that day, and I will be going to the next Comic-Con in Manchester on July the 30th. If you're a subscriber, come and you're going to that event, come and say hello to me. I'll be delighted to meet you, and yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, guys, please leave a like and subscribe. And if you've met a doctor and what great moments have you had with him, I would like to know why. So I shall see you next time, guys. I'll be finishing off my 2 doctors reaction. So yeah, I shall see you next time, guys. Bye.